This is James Mathers from the Digital Cinema Society at NAB 2026. I'm here with my friend Sam Nicholson, ASC. Sam is a true pioneer in visual effects and all kinds of cinematography. Sam, tell us about what you're working on now. What is some of the gear that you have here?
Good to see you, Jim. We are here with a kind of a hybrid approach on virtual production, addressing the people that are kind of on a fast schedule, tight budget, good, fast, and cheap.
Who isn't?
Who isn't, right? So although, we've done some huge productions with the Amazon volume and, at the Trilith stage doing Rolling Loud, big feature films, a lot of our projects are demanding coming into an absolutely dependable virtual production setup that looks photoreal and doesn't cost an arm and a leg. So along that line, what we've got from an encoding standpoint, we do have outside-in tracking at our studio. You're going to spend $100,000 to set up 50 cameras and all that kind of stuff. And we've been doing it since Prevision days with fiducials. We've tried everything, inertial trackers, almost everything. And when it comes down to most cinematography, most setups in coverage, dialogue, which is where the real value is in virtual production. The medium shots, the close-ups, whatever. You're swinging a camera 6 feet. So the most dependable encoding technology you can get for camera positioning is encoders, hardwired encoders. And that's why the JibO by Cartoni, this is a fully encoded head, or jib. They do make a head, but with an LED screen you don't need a encoded head. So you just need spatial positioning in XY. And this gives us extremely accurate data, which you can kind of see the background is slave to this. I can't see it, but I assume it's working.
It's still working.
Yeah, it's good. So, this gives us, the background is a combination of a Gaussian splat and motion picture. So we're giving motion to the Gaussian splat. So we've got a 3D midground, 2D background, and I'm theoretically real, right? So this is the JibO, which is fantastic. It's set up, I'm a big fan of the Cartoni equipment because it's beautifully machined. And we've also got the Liftos here. The lighting is being done with mechanical risers. So what we have here is a unique way to do kinetic lighting. It's a Cartoni Lifto with the Nanlux 150C on top of it. So if we come down, this is all remote controlled. We can bring the lights down, we can bring them up. So you no longer have to get on a ladder, right? And the Nanlux 150 is unbelievable. With this Lico front end on it, we can shape the lights so that we don't get any bounce back on the screen, which is always a important thing. But all of the Nanlux lights are giving us full color control. And this is an 8 LED color engine, so it's got incredible, close to Rec 2020 or beyond in certain places. But when you combine it with the Cartoni Lifto, you can say, okay, you set your light like this. You've got this great, remote control. So you can control the light totally from your remote or your phone or whatever, right? They're all wireless DMX. And then if we go up, you can just take your light up and there it goes. And I'm telling you, it's great with a camera on top of it, but every gaffer I know looks at it and goes, I want to put my lights on that. Why get up? You got to get a light up there.
Great solution.
So Cartoni has all this wonderful support gear that now is encoded, and when you combine it with a few other items, you get a really practical virtual production setup that looks photoreal. So you start with an encoded jib. This is the JibO here, incredibly fast to set up. I think we set up in just a couple hours. So I mean, that's the other thing, is how fast can you set up, how fast can you strike, and how dependable is it? So the Cartoni equipment, this fits in a single suitcase, like a guitar-looking suitcase. It folds up into an incredibly compact thing. We brought this whole rig here with all of this in an SUV with 3 people in the SUV. So that's the other thing is, can you move it? Does it take up, what's the footprint, And then you come out to, we wanted a really lightweight, easily manipulated, easily operated head. So here's your Ronin head, but what we've got on it is a Blackmagic 12K, which I'm kind of in love with this little camera because...
It's the PYXIS, right?
Yeah, the PYXIS 12. We just did a promotion for Sandisk, and you can put 2 CF Express, these guys, CF Express Type B. These are not the, their most advanced ones are over there. I had them last week. This is like only 640 gigabyte.
Only 640.
Yeah, we had 4 terabytes times 2 in this camera. So you're shooting with 8 terabytes, which I've never done before. I mean, 8 terabytes in a 12K camera is like, that fits in one hand, So these things, sustained read-write at 3,000 megabytes per second. So not only can you generate the footage, but you can lay it off extremely fast to the Sandisk SSDs, and then the NVMe storage, and then off to Western Digital drives, right? So, so this is, I think this is a really important part of the workflow is your data, It's great to shoot 12K, but it's like bringing a fire hose into your bathroom, it fills up really fast. So a single load on this camera, you shoot 8 terabytes, right? It's a lot. So anyway, Blackmagic is rocking it with their cameras. I think the 12K is a brilliant box. Easy to use. The data looks super clean, full frame, which brings me to this. The Sigma lenses that we've got on this are full coverage on full app. This is a 24 to 35 zoom, but they make a full range of lenses for this. And I'm a big fan of the combination. When you have a good lens with a great body, great memory, you're encoded, you're starting to get there, right? I mean,
you're rocking.
Yeah, that's a huge part of it, is how fast can you set up, and then how dependable is it? So this is the scanner that we generated the Gaussian splats with. So there's different types of scanners in the market. This is a very unique one coming out of Singapore from dConstruct. And they're a new partner of ours that is handling all of the scanning and, how do you digitize reality? How do you data capture it very fast, walk through, get your LiDAR information, get your textures, combine it with multiple camera setups, and bake it into a 3-dimensional photoreal midground.
So you literally walk through. It looks handheld.
Yeah, you just walk through and just scan it. You look. I was saying, put a beer in one hand and this in the other, and you're golden, right? You can really go to town. So the tools that we're using are getting a whole lot more friendly. And if you come around here and take a look at the monitor, so now what this is a visualization of what's happening on the screen. This is the math behind it. So as I lower the camera, you can see we're running both video and a Gaussian splat at the same time. And that's what makes it look real, because Gaussian splats don't have any movement to them, really, unless you add it. So you have to have a hybrid. And what this does is it keeps the horizon level with the camera. So as I lower the camera, the horizon lowers, and as I raise the camera, so it tricks the camera into thinking that the horizon is at infinity, pushes the screen back.
And you couldn't do this without an encoded head.
Correct. Yeah.
Or arm.
You have to. It's essential to know where the camera is in 3D space to place your horizon, and then the whole 3D model parallaxes, because you're basically looking at a 3D model with a movie playing inside it. But the software is also obviously very important, right? Because you can see that no matter how fast we move this boom, the background's tracking. So all you have to do on almost any scanning system here is say, move the camera fast and see what happens. And it has to be bulletproof. And if you have a lot of experience on set, every tool has to be bulletproof. A minute of downtime is like a lifetime. So that's why this isn't for everything. But once you've finished your big Steadicam shots and your wide shots or whatever it is, you're going to get into coverage. I think that you generally have 20 to 30 cuts per page. We generally shoot 12 pages a day, 8 to 12 in television. So, 3 of those shots might be establishing shots or act outs. The rest is coverage, dialogue. And that's where the economics of virtual production really pay off. Is if a green screen shot is going to cost you somewhere between $1,500 and $3,000 a piece, if you're doing 30 of them per page, it adds up.
A lot of posts.
Adds up really fast. And I'm a big fan of green screen. We've been doing it forever. And it's a fabulous, sometimes, like we just finished a Brian Henson puppet show. You got a bunch of puppeteers, you're going to be on blue screen. It's very little clean shots. But with people, I don't have 5 puppeteers, doing my arms and stuff like this. So it makes a lot of sense to say, well, then how does LED play in? And the AOTO screens are extremely high resolution, extremely bright when you need them to be, and they're incredibly durable. So it's another tool. You combine, everything has to be super dependable. So we've been doing shows like Interview with the Vampire in Toronto and shipping all this gear up to Toronto, including 500 panels that are built up, and it gets pretty complicated. But there is no one single solution. So if you have a lot of dependable elements within your solution process, then you can mix and match them. Because this head works great as a Steadicam head, or it works great on a vehicle, or it works great here. So the more diverse a tool is, like an Apple box or a C-stand, they'll probably be around for a while. But this is one of the flavors we've come up with at Stargate, and I always believe that no matter what size production comes to you for help or a solution, that you should have in your tool case, you should have a way to solve almost any problem. And what this combination of hardware gives us is not only really dependable, excellent hardware, but great partners.
You're making it all work together. That's the important part.
Yeah. Well, and I think that we're sort of applications engineers in a way. It's like you wouldn't expect a surgeon to just use one tool. They use a lot of different tools. And that's what really all these are. We're kind of problem solvers for production. Sometimes it's best to just do it live action, But if you're going to go down, if it makes sense to go down a virtual production path, I always compare blue screen, LED, different types of encoding. if you're going to run through a warehouse with everybody shooting at each other, this is not the rig to use. If you're going to be having moments where your actors pause and have a conversation, fantastic. But don't over-tech it. Don't fall in love with the technology. It's always got to be the other way around. The creative demands have to reveal a solution. The technology should never drive the bus.
Creative problem solving.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you so much, Sam. Thanks for sharing all this.
You bet, Jim. Good to see you.